Hey, hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. And I had my usual crisis just before the live's about to start, everything organised. And I pressed the wrong button and just turned everything off. So I had to start all over again. Also, there's all bangers going on outside for some totally unknown reason. So it's the 28th of December. Why there's fireworks going on? Anyway, never mind. So I've got my 2024 hat on. It's all about the new year now. I've cleared. Christmas is gone as far as I'm concerned. Oh, hang on, that's the help, the chat guy. Oh, how do I turn that off now? God. End chat. Yeah, because I had to go on for help about it. But anyway, oh God, has not rained here for a long time. And when that happens, it's not good, because in Malaga, in Spain, they've got like severe drought warnings. I mean, it's really serious, so and when it doesn't rain, the last time it didn't rain for a long time, we then got what they called La Dana, which was like a big flood. I mean, literally houses and cars and everything were washed away. So I'm just thinking, here in Spain, we've got beautiful weather, but it's not good, because it's got to rain sooner or later. And when it does, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. So I'm going to make sure I'm prepping all the time. I'm making sure I've always got stuff in just in case, because when it rains like it did last time after a severe drought, couldn't leave the house for a week. So anyway. Okay, so that was that. Now, was there anything else? I've written everything down so I don't forget to shit, because sometimes I forget to show things. So yeah, we've been through what Nicola's family did at Christmas, the dreams. Okay, so let's start talking now about Gypsy Rose. Gypsy Rose, I don't know what you all think about this. It's a very, I find it, well, obviously it's a very strange case. It's a very sad case. I do think that Gypsy's mum, Dee Dee, she does get forgotten a bit in it all. And I know she did horrible things to Gypsy, but she obviously was mentally ill herself. And, nobody deserves to be murdered at the end of the day, no matter what they do. I'm sure there could have been other ways that they did it, but probably because they were young, they couldn't see another way out, could they? So murder seemed like the only way. But I do sometimes feel a bit for Dee Dee. I don't know what happened to her, because at one point in her life she was a normal person, though I think her family said that she was always a liar. She always used to fantasize and tell lies, etc. But yeah, basically, I agree, Des. I mean, she was mentally ill, so I do have a sort of a residue of sympathy for her. Anyway, let's have a look at Dee Dee. So I thought I'm going to start off talking about Dee Dee, because I do think Dee Dee does get forgotten. She's like, what can I say? I mean, she was a person. At the end of the day, she was a person. And although she obviously went like completely wrong somewhere, she was still a person. And I don't know if you know, but she was at one point, let's have a look at some images of her, because she was a beauty queen at one point. So what happened to her? Let's have a look. So this is Dee Dee when she was young. you know, and she was very attractive, beautiful, and she was a beauty queen. She won pageants, you know, so what happened to her over the years, who knows? But everyone at one point is a person. So she sort of, you know, this was her when she was young, when she had Gypsy. And then because she was only in her 40s when she died, but she looks so much older, doesn't she? And obviously she's let herself go. Things have gone wrong big time, basically, haven't they, with her, for whatever reason. Who knows? Who knows what happened to Dee Dee? And of course, she married. She got married, and that's when she had Gypsy. But their marriage didn't work out. And, you know, I think he's got away with it a lot, the father. You know, he didn't really intervene in any way, shape or form. I think he paid, you know, what's the word, maintenance. He paid child support and things like that. But he didn't really take that much interest in Gypsy and her welfare, because he then got married and he had another daughter. You know, I don't know, maybe he was just hoodwinked so much by Dee Dee. You know, I don't know, but there's part of me that's got a little bit of sympathy for Dee Dee, because she obviously had massive issues that she was looking, you know, because she suffered from, well, they say she suffered from Munchausen's by proxy. In other words, trying to get attention, but she did it through Gypsy. Some people who have this Munchausen's disease, they either do it through themselves, always clamoring for attention, make themselves ill on purpose to get attention, or they do it through other people, their children, or, you know, like we've seen it with Bev Allett and that nurse, Letby, what was her first name, Louise Letby, or whatever her name is. You know, they're looking for attention by making other people ill, so they get the attention as if they're the hero saving them. So I don't know where it started, because of course we can't talk to Dee Dee, so we can't get Dee Dee's side of things, opinion on things, or, you know, give her any tests and find out. I mean, you can see, though, especially from this picture, the difference between Gypsy now, and she'll have been released today, and Gypsy when Dee Dee was looking after her. I mean, prison's been a better experience for Gypsy than living with her mum, you know. So I'm not saying that she didn't do terrible, that it wasn't terrible, that what she did to Gypsy, it was terrible. But I think, you know, we've got to have a little bit of thought for her, because she was brutally murdered, and nobody deserves that. Nobody deserves that. So anyway, okay, so if for those of you who don't know anything about this case was the case of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, who her mother sort of brought her up as a practical invalid, but it's believed that she had nothing wrong with her. She was in a wheelchair from the age of 8. Her mother used her to sort of get attention. I think it all sort of kicked off with, was it Hurricane Katrina or one of those hurricanes? They lost everything. And I think that's where it sort of started big time with Dee Dee. She sort of reinvented herself. She moved to another place, another state, and then charities got behind them. They built them a house because they had nowhere to live. And then she, you know, lots of donations and money, etc., by pretending that Gypsy was ill. And we're going to look at that anyway. So let's have a look. Let's see which, God, I've got so many videos to show you. Yeah, let's look at this one first. So this is Banfield on News Nation, one of my favorite news readers. see.
Most of the 10-year sentence.
Now, she went. So what happened in the end was, of course, as Gypsy got older, you know, you cannot put those hormones back in. Do you know what I mean? Teenagers. She got older. Her hormones started kicking in. She wanted to meet boys, and her mum was trying to still treat her as if she was a sort of 5-year-old. But it just, you know, at the end of the day, the hormones start kicking in. That's it. There's nothing else you could, you know. They're always going to take over. Anyone who's had a teenager will know. Teenagers just do their own thing, and as much as you think that will never happen to you, which I'm sure Dee Dee thought it would never happen to her with Gypsy, teenagers, they're, you know, they come into a state of mind where hormones are all that matter. So what happened was, now this case, of course, I think would never have happened if it wasn't for the internet, because Gypsy was on the internet joining dating sites, and she joined a dating site which was called, I think, something like the Free Christian dating site or something, and she met a man. She met several men, but she met one in particular, Nicholas, and he, see, I have a lot of sympathy for him. She met him online, and I think you could say that she manipulated him, really. I think what we have to remember about Gypsy is she learned how to manipulate from her mother. I mean, her mother was the master manipulator, and I don't think Gypsy's above a bit of manipulation. So when she met Nicholas online, which of course wouldn't have happened without the internet, they started, you know, plotting. I think she did try, to be fair, I think she did try to tell her mum about this relationship. Her mum just like went mad and didn't want anything to do, you know, was telling her she's not to have a relationship and this, that and the other. And she should have known you can't say that to a teenager, you know, you just can't tell them they can't do this, they can't do that. They'll just do it anyway. It's probably better that they do it and you know that at least that they're doing it. And anyway, this went to the extreme where Gypsy and her boyfriend Nicholas plotted to murder Dee Dee because they thought that was the only way that they could be together. Now, Nicholas, we're going to look at him later. Nicholas was autistic, is autistic. He's still alive. I'm talking about him as if he's not alive. He's in prison. He has received a prison sentence, life without parole. But the thing that feels a bit awkward to me is, why has he had a prison sentence of life without parole for the murder of Dee Dee? And Gypsy is coming out today after only serving 8 years. And at the end of the day, it was her mother, and by her own admittance, it was her that suggested to Nicholas, asked him to kill her mother because she felt that that was the only way they could be together. So it's not so much that I think that she should have been in prison longer, but I just think, why did he get such a strong sentence, especially because he's got his own mental problem, you know, with his autism. He's got very low IQ, and he was totally in love with Gypsy. And at the end of the day, I think Gypsy did manipulate him. But now she's come out of prison today. She's got married while she's in prison. She's coming out to her husband today. We're going to look at some photos of them as well. But anyway, let's listen to this first.
For murder, and not just any murder, Gypsy Rose helped plot the murder of her mother, Dee Dee Blanchard, and she was granted parole back in September. Gypsy's abusive childhood is well documented. The misery that she suffered at the hands of a parent with a disorder called Munchausen by proxy. It drives a caregiver to make a child sick on purpose to get attention or sympathy or money. Gypsy pleaded guilty to second-degree murder after she and her boyfriend killed Dee Dee Blanchard in 2015. But on December 28th, now at age 32, Gypsy will be a free woman on Thursday. I want to bring in Christy Blanchard. She is Gypsy Rose Blanchard's stepmom.
So she's 32 now, Gypsy. So the thing is, when she went to prison, so if it was 8 years ago and she's 32 now, oh God, it takes me so long to add up. She was 24 when she went, and she seems so much younger. I mean, there's a lot of controversy about how old she actually is, because her mum, Dee Dee, she starved her. She kept her really skinny and tried to make her look younger all the time, and she kept changing her birth date and that. I mean, she was awful. I'm not saying she wasn't awful. And the other thing that she did, or that Gypsy said she did, I mean, of course, you know, we do only have Gypsy's word for things now, but if any doctor, it felt like any doctor started to sort of suspect, you know, that maybe she wasn't ill or question the things that Dee Dee was saying, she would just move her to another doctor. And the other thing, though, I just wanted to say is Gypsy did know she could walk. You know, when she stood up, when she walked into the courtroom for the trial, all her family were absolutely gobsmacked that she was walking. But Gypsy knew she could walk. She did know she could walk. So I do think Gypsy's not being 100% honest in the things she said. I think she perhaps knew a little bit more than she makes out, because she did know she could walk, for God's sake.
Christy, it's so good of you to join us tonight. Thank you so much for this. You know, I suppose you could look at this as a kind of a late Christmas present, because I know that you and your husband Rod are really very, very much looking forward to, you know, receiving her. What is the plan for Thursday? Tell us what you're going to do.
We're going to pretty much follow her lead, see how overwhelming she gets. And it's going to be a big adjustment. But we're going to do Christmas. Got a Christmas tree. We're going to put that up.
So this is Dee Dee's ex-husband's new wife, and they have another daughter together.
Got her so many gifts. I went overboard, actually. But
well, I say new wife, they've been married a long time, but this is who he ended up with after he split up from Dee Dee.
It's so hard to describe how I'm going to feel, how I'm going to react until I'm in the moment.
What does she want to do first?
Oh, we're doing a spa day. We booked a spa day. We're going to go get her pedicure, manicure, facial, haircut, colored if she wants. You know, the works, bring her shopping. She can't wait to go clothes shopping with Mia. So it's going to be a full day of events the following day. Maybe that night that she gets released, we'll do the Christmas with her. Let her open a ton of gifts.
Some people who are watching, listen, the majority of people, I think, who've seen the documentaries and the dramatic, you know, presentations of her life are very supportive of Gypsy Rose, believing she's a victim and she suffered horrendously at the hands of her mother for her entire life. There are others who feel she committed a murder and you know, she was justly incarcerated. I would love to know how she feels about it. Does she feel like she should have spent time in prison? Like, where does she sort of fall on the responsibility spectrum?
We've talked about that actually a few times, and more.
I mean, look at the difference with there's a. I think I just saw Chumba was just saying the doctors. How did the doctors not notice? But having said that, Gypsy herself said that as soon as the doctors started to get suspicious, her mum would just move them to a different doctor, move her to a different doctor. She just kept, you know, she was clever, I suppose. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, look at the difference between her there and then when you see her now after she's been in prison. Prison's been good for her. She put on weight. She's got some, you know, her hair's always done lovely. She looks beautiful. And her mum always kept her with the shaved hair and trying to, because she would say that she had leukemia. I mean, she never had leukemia. I mean, it's ridiculous, really. But if you watch them, though, it's very sickly sweet, everything they say and do. How did people not see that? As soon as I watched them talking, you know, the mother and Gypsy, like, oh, thank you for everything. All that, you just think, oh, my God, it just doesn't come over as true. Do you know, like if you were a person watching that at the time. But people just fell for it. People just fell for it. And the reason they fell for it was because Gypsy looked so frail in her wheelchair and her shaven head. And she had a feeding tube at one time, putting food into her stomach. I mean, it's incredible, isn't it, really? But surely Gypsy could have gone to a doctor or herself, or gone and sold her story. Surely they didn't need to murder Dee Dee. But the other thing is, I don't understand why the boy, why he has got such a, you know, he's got life without any possibility of parole. He's never coming out of prison. Why has he was the one who actually murdered her. But even Gypsy herself admits she engineered it. She wanted him to. She asked him to.
More or less, she said she's glad that she did go to prison, because she would have probably stayed in that same pattern that her mom raised her to be. And with all the help, because she would have.
Sorry, there's a toupee for you. That's a hell of a toupee. That's that wig. My God, I could do with that for next Christmas when my white wig is totally. There's a good toupee somebody could put to good use.
Probably stayed in that same pattern that her mom raised her to be. And with all the help and the classes that she took, she now recognizes that what's wrong from right. You know, she has grown so much. It's unbelievable.
Christy, I learned something tonight I didn't know, and that is that Gypsy Rose got married while she was incarcerated. Can you tell me a little about that?
She sure did. She's been married for over a year. We support her in every way. We didn't want, I mean, we wish she would have waited, but at the end of the day, it's her decision. She's a grown woman. And I just pray and hope.
Now, I've got some pictures of her husband in a moment to show you. Anyway,
it works out. He's a great guy. He loves her so much. He's in it for all the right reasons. And I think.
Now, he's a teacher. The guy that she's married, she had she was engaged to a guy previously, but that didn't work out. But anyway, she met this guy. How? I don't know. I presume he wrote to her. I mean, how did she meet him? I presume he started like a pen friend thing with her or something. I presume then she's not in touch with Nicholas anymore, and they were totally in love at one point. Anyway, this guy that she's married, he's a teacher. How, as I say, I don't know. I presume he wrote to her while she was in prison, and they've got married. And I'm going to show some photos in a minute.
That through all of this, he's one of her biggest support systems out here, and he lives in Louisiana, which is a big plus.
So they're going to live in Louisiana, and I should just mention, I think his name is Ryan, and I think he's a school teacher. Do you know anything else about him?
Oh yeah, Ryan he's a school teacher. He loves wrestling. If I could say, he's a genuine sweet guy. I adore him. He's very respectful. We're still learning him. We've been to his home once to meet his mom and his stepdad and everything, and they fit in well with us.
Well, listen, I know I know that you guys have been really busy doing documentaries, and I know you've got a couple things coming up as well, but I'd really love to invite you back on the program when Gypsy Rose is out, and be able to talk to you all as a family and to talk to her as well. Can we make that invitation and seal the deal tonight?
I guess we'll just figure it out and see how she does. I don't want to make a promise that I can't keep, but I'm sure she would like to, that y'all have that one-on-one and get to know her, and she could tell a little bit more of her story.
Yeah, tell her story of her new life. Christy Blanchard, thank you so much on this Friday night right before Christmas for being a part of the program. It's good to meet you, and I'm really appreciative of this. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Merry Christmas to you too, and hopefully we'll talk soon.
Thank you for.
Okay, so just wanted to say, hang on, let me put that one down. So I've got one, put a couple of windows down. It makes it less confusing for me when I'm working out what to put. So, Julie Dawn, good for you. Good for you. Yes. Try not to use one as long as you can. That's right. As long as you can get around, as long as you're safe, getting around, don't put yourself sort of in a vulnerable position. But brilliant. Yeah, good for you. Now, I just want to say, somebody else said that I think there's more coming here, because I do think, I know Gypsy was controlled by her mum, but she did know she could walk. Because don't forget, she was going out at one point when she met up with this Nicholas, didn't she? She went to a theatre show and sprang the surprise on her mum that Nicholas turned up there because she wanted to introduce them to each other. And of course, her mum wasn't very happy, but she sneaked off and had sex in the toilets during this theatre presentation. She knew she could walk, I think, but she'd been controlled so much, maybe she just couldn't see a way out of it. She says herself, she thought about all different ways, of maybe them, because he suggested running away. But apparently once she'd run away before and her mum had found her, so she didn't want to do that. But of course, she'd done that on her own. Maybe running away with him. I mean, it's all easy to look at later. We're going to have a look at his mum talking. And I just feel for his mum so much, because if only he would have maybe even spoken to his mum about it, brought it out in the open. But, young people, sometimes they don't feel that they can talk about things, do they? But I tell you, he could have spoken to his mum and said, look, this is the situation. And I think his mum would have tried to, if that was my son, I would have. You would have tried to sort of resolve this situation. So apparently they talked about Gypsy even getting pregnant so that her mum would have to accept the fact that she was in a relationship. They did talk about a lot of different things. It's a very dark case, this, but then they started going off in dark ways. And Gypsy, she joined in it. And in fact, she was an instigator of it all. So it's not that I don't feel sorry for her, because I do feel sorry for her, but I feel like she's been a product of that. And I do feel she knows how to manipulate, because she's come out very well out of this and he hasn't quite managed that. And I feel for him, why has he come out of it so badly, with his life sentence without parole? And she's, seems to have come out of it quite well, but because it was still murder at the end of the day. But yeah, I think if only, and Gypsy had friends. She had friends, a next door neighbour. She was talking to people about things, but it just didn't happen. But anyway, so what I want to show you now is I found some. Let me see if I can find them. I found some photos of her husband, of her family. This is I know nothing about this YouTube channel. It just came up as I was looking. But I just want to play this. I'm going to play this, and then I'm not going to say anything. Just wonder if anyone will come up with the same thought that was the first thought that occurred to me when I saw these pictures. So we're going to look at her family.
This video talk about Gypsy Rose Blanchard family. Name Gypsy Rose Blanchard. She was born on 27th July 1991. Father Rod Blanchard.
So that's his other daughter. So they're all going on. She's the one that the stepmother was saying they're going on a spa day today. Well, the 28th she's coming out. I don't know how the time zone thing works out, but they were going for a spa day, pedicure, manicure, having a hair done, facial, etc. with her sister. I wonder how they'll get on.
Mother Claudine Blanchard. Ex-boyfriend Kane.
So this was her first boyfriend that she met in prison. They got engaged. So you can see she's got a prison uniform on there. She's there with her dad and her stepmom. And this was her boyfriend when she was in prison. Before, this is not the one she's married. They got engaged, but they split up for whatever reason. This is Ken, but that's not the one she married.
In April 2019, In Touch exclusively revealed Gypsy and Ken were engaged. Gypsy Rose Blanchard has dated multiple men in prison after Ken split. Husband Ryan Scott Anderson.
So this is her husband. This is the guy she is married. And yeah, when he's a school teacher, when she comes out, they'll be, you know, having a normal married life, I suppose.
Anderson.
Whatever that is.
Gypsy Rose Blanchard got married in 2022. A Louisiana teacher she married at behind bars last year.
Now, does anyone, bless Julie, does anyone see what was, I thought was a little bit concerning there in those photos, or is it just me who's imagining it? You know, it's like, does he or does he not look like her mum? I don't know. To me, I thought he looked like a mum. Anyway, maybe it's just me. So she's coming out to hopefully resume the life. Well, I say resume. She's not resuming a normal life. She's never had a normal life because it all culminated with Dee Dee being murdered and then them going to prison. So she's never actually had what you would call a normal life. But she's coming out to a normal life. She's married. She's got, oh, right. So what I want to look at now, because I want to start looking at Nicholas now, Nicholas Godijon, because I really don't. I do feel for him. It was horrible, obviously, what he did. But at the end of the day, why has he been treated so, you know, despite all his problems, like his autism, etc. And to be fair, at his trial, Gypsy did stand up for him. Like, she did admit, it was all my idea. You know, I told him, I let him in, I told him how to do it, but she didn't do it. She locked herself in the bathroom. And he actually committed the act. And, it, you know, obviously it wasn't very nice. It was horrible. But but they were in it together. And then they sort of went off to a hotel, didn't they? And they, it took it, because at first there was a big panic by the police because they didn't realise that, well, they wouldn't have thought for a minute that she would have been involved in it, because everybody told them, how terrible, that Gypsy was so frail and so weak and so ill, etc. That the police, when they first found Dee Dee dead in the house, they thought that Gypsy had been kidnapped. They didn't even think for a minute at first that she might have had anything to do with it. Now, what happened then was a Facebook message popped up on Dee Dee's Facebook page. Well, it was like a combined Facebook page of Dee Dee and Gypsy saying the bitch is dead. So that was the first way that people realized something was funny. So anyone who was on Dee Dee's Facebook saw this Facebook post come up, the bitch is dead. And then the next post that came up on there was, and I raped her effing daughter, this, that, and the other straight afterwards. So these were the two posts that came up on the Facebook page. So the police were thinking that Dee Dee had been murdered, and God knows what had happened to Gypsy, that she'd been raped, she'd been abducted, and that's, was the initial thing that they were supposing. But of course, it then transpired that in fact Gypsy had not been abducted. She was voluntarily with him, and in fact they plotted this murder together. So yeah. Anyway, so let's have a look. I just want to have a look at Nicholas's mum, because I did feel for his mum. Because could you imagine, as a mum, suddenly the police come see you and they say, oh, your son's in custody, he's murdered his girlfriend's mum. I mean, how must that have been for her? She must have been just like,
what's going on, okay? As you know, Nicholas was charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action. And what happened is he got a bus ticket and he came to Springfield, which is where I live, New York, and he and Gypsy conspired to kill her mother. He stabbed her numerous times in the back while she slept in her bed. They cleaned up the area. He had a hotel room.
They cleaned up. It was all like.
They cleaned up some blood that was in the house.
You just imagine that now, because what she's saying, she goes on to say that he's a good boy. No, I think most mums would say that about their sons, wouldn't they? We do tend to, not only mums, but dads as well. It's hard to believe bad things of your own child, isn't it? But I think he was a good boy, but he did have some issues. There had been some issues of exhibitionism. I don't think he had a criminal record, but there was something. He had some issues, but nothing no violence. I don't know. She just seems absolutely. I think she just seems shell-shocked.
They got a hotel room. They hung out until they can get the bus ticket to come back here. Things that were recovered from your house. And did they leave you a list to tell you the things that were recovered?
No.
Okay. I don't know what the laws are here, but like when we do a search warrant where I live, we have to leave a list of everything that we took. One thing that your husband might remember is that recently Nicholas received a package in the mail.
Yeah, okay. I don't know about it, but if he says, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that was the knife that he had stabbed her to death. They mailed it from their house there to your house.
Are you serious?
Yes, ma'am. And that was located in your house.
It's just, my son has never done anything violent, so it's like.
That's what he said.
Oh my God.
He said that he's never, what do you think about this?
I don't know. I know.
Now, Gypsy, she had access to money because she sent him a knife. So that package, she sent him the knife that he used to kill Dee Dee. And also she sent him the theatre tickets. And that day when they went to the theatre or the cinema or whatever, where she tried to introduce him to her mum. So Gypsy had access to money. And she had some autonomy in her life, because if she had her own, I don't know whether she sent that knife through Amazon or how she sent it, but she managed to send it to him. And she, you know, so she wasn't completely controlled. She had her access to her own money somewhere along the line. So don't really know how she managed to do that. But anyway, I'm going to fast forward this a bit because it's quite long, this. Just have a look. I just wanted you to see his mum talking.
Today, when I spoke with him briefly, I had to tell him about the warrants and stuff, and he cried a lot. Not necessarily about the charges. He's like, okay, he appears okay with that part of it, but the part that he's never going to see Gypsy again or you or whatever.
So she amazingly got in his head pretty well. Like,
yeah, I mean, he was totally in love with Gypsy, and she's just saying there that he wasn't really that upset about the fact that he'd been charged with murder. He's upset about the fact that he's never going to see Gypsy again. He was totally in love. You know, as probably you know what it's like, only teenagers fit that love. It's like obsession, isn't it? And I'm not excusing him. What he did was terrible. I'm not excusing anybody. What I'm trying to say is I don't understand why he was treated so severely and she was treated so lightly, because at the end of the day, it was her mum, whatever. I know her mum had him, you know, treated her badly, but I don't know, you know, maybe he should have been given a bit more of a chance. I don't know.
So those things he's struggling with, you know. I tried to explain to him everything I could. He took great comfort in knowing that I'll be where he's going in Missouri, because he says that way he could reach out and talk to someone, and I will. I am. Notice anything odd about her voice?
Just her southern drawl.
Okay.
You know, like, yes, ma'am, and that, but no.
Was she high pitchy or squealy or anything?
Kind of. Like, yeah, but when she started telling me that she planned to live at my house and get a job, I was like, what? What is she talking about? You know what I mean? Okay, that's not going to happen, but I don't know. Sometimes you try and do things for your kids because you just want them to be happy.
Sure.
And as much as we tried to get him to just...
So why were you guys friends with her on Facebook?
I wasn't. Oh, he asked me to, you know, she wants to ask you questions about, you know, whatever. Fine. You know, I don't know.
Okay.
But I'm sure he could tell you, you know.
And
it's weird because I almost feel like Nick's safer right now than having her.
Okay, I'm going to stop showing that, because what I want to really look at now is him, what he's got to say. So this is where he actually admitted to murdering. Yeah, I agree, Jean. I think the mother manipulated Gypsy and Gypsy manipulated Nicholas. And I think I think Gypsy will be a really good manipulator now, because that's just the way she's been brought up to manipulate, I think. But let's just have a look at him. This is when he actually confessed to a murder, to Dee Dee's murder.
So then you guys get on the bus, and then you guys get here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you ride a Greyhound each time you went?
Yeah.
All the way
yeah.
to buses?
There was no other bus station.
So where's the bus station stop at here?
Here it stopped in Milwaukee.
Okay. And then how did you get from Milwaukee to your house in Big Bend?
My mom picked us up.
Oh, okay. So then do you call mom and say, hey, we're here, come pick us up?
Yep.
And so was that the first time that your mom ever met your girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess she's your girlfriend. If she's your
she is. Yeah, she is.
And you love her?
Oh, do I ever?
You love her a lot?
I was bummed my eyes out waiting for this moment where I can talk to you.
Okay.
I was so...
Oh, so when she says, "Oh, do you love her?" He says, "Oh yeah, do I ever?" I was so worried about her. I mean, God, it is the most weirdest case because all that horrible thing that he did, you know, murdering her, but all he cares about is Gypsy. He's just totally obsessed with Gypsy.
Worried about her.
Yeah. I think she loves you too. You know, we spoke to her and for a long time. And I'm kind of thinking maybe she loves you a little more than you love her, because you're sitting here telling me things that I know aren't true. And then she's sitting here telling me things that are true. And if you really love her, I don't think you would want her in that situation. Okay. The situation that she's in right now. And so we're going to go down two paths here. Okay. And that is just, you're going to have to be honest with me, because if you love her, if you love Gypsy, then you're not going to let Gypsy get in trouble without you being there to help her. Okay.
I understand.
And so what you need to know is that Gypsy told us everything.
Okay.
We didn't talk to Gypsy all this time and not get everything.
Okay.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
And so, Nick, I want you to do the honorable thing, okay, for Gypsy and for your family, okay, because we know what happened. And I want to give you the opportunity to start over and to tell the truth, okay? And the truth is not what you've told me.
How much have I told you to believe is the truth?
I believe the part that you got on a bus and went to Springfield.
Okay.
I believe that's true.
Okay.
That you ordered food to eat. I believe that's true.
Okay.
I believe that it's true that at some point Gypsy came back with you to the motel. I believe that's true.
Yeah,
I believe Gypsy got on a bus and came here with you. I believe that's true.
Yeah.
That's all I believe.
Okay.
Okay? Because you missed a lot in there. And I understand that you missed a lot because you don't know what to say because you don't.
I'm just going to forward it a bit where he confesses, if I can find it. Let's see.
That's one hand.
Okay. So it did. So the others came out easy, but that one kind of came out harder.
Yep.
Okay. And so you only stabbed her 4 times? Are you sure about that?
Well, as in stabbing, I stabbed her 4 times.
Okay.
But I did actually cut her one other time besides that.
Okay. Where'd you cut her at?
On the back of her neck.
Okay. And did you use the same knife that you did the others with?
Yep.
Okay. And when you did across the back of the neck, did that even cause an injury, or did you see any blood or anything?
Yeah, she was bleeding.
Okay, she's bleeding. And so did she scream or holler, or?
Yeah, she did. What
was she saying?
First she said help, and then she didn't recognize who I was. She said, "Who are you?" And then
she said, "Who are you?"
Yeah.
Okay. And she didn't recognize who you are, and she says help, and then what does she say?
And then she called up for Gypsy, but Gypsy didn't do anything.
Okay. She hollered for Gypsy.
Yes.
Did she holler for Gypsy once, twice, 5 times?
3 times.
3 times? And what was she saying? Can you tell me how she said it?
She pretty much yelped it.
Yelped it?
It's like,
Gypsy. Okay.
Yeah, she was loud.
And what did you do when she did that?
It didn't stop me from keep on going.
Okay. You just kept stabbing her?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she called out for Gypsy 3 times, and Gypsy was in the bathroom, wasn't she? And Gypsy didn't come out and stop it. I mean, this is what I mean. They were equally in it. They were equally in it, but I do. You've got to feel a little bit sorry for Dee Dee, because nobody deserves to be murdered.
Is there any reason that we would think that maybe you stabbed her more than 4 times?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Now, did Gypsy come in and stab her?
No.
Gypsy never stabbed her?
She couldn't do it.
Okay.
That's usually why she asked me to.
Okay. Did you try to get Gypsy to come in and stab her?
No, I wouldn't.
But Gypsy couldn't do it. That's the reason she asked me to do it. Gypsy said when at his trial that she was too squeamish to do it. That's why she asked him to do it.
I've never done that.
Okay. So when you say 4 actual stabs, so those are the ones that went in deeper?
Yeah.
Was there some little ones? Or
There might have been, because the truth is, I counted the ones that went in deep. I didn't count any other, if there's any other ones.
okay, so if there's any other ones, you just didn't count those because they didn't go in as deep.
Yeah.
Okay, but you know that 4 of them went in deep.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know where those 4 deep ones were?
Uh,
Are you counting the one in the back of the neck or not in that 4?
no.
Okay, so the back of the neck would be something different.
Yeah, it's completely separated.
Okay, so the 4 that went in deep, do you remember where those went? In the bed, and Gypsy's in the bathroom. And so what happens after you're done stabbing Dee?
I knocked on the door, and I also scratched on the door twice to let her know that was me instead of her mom.
Oh, so is that a code you guys came up
Yeah.
with? Okay, so what was the code again?
It was 3 knocks and then 2 scratches.
Okay, 3 knocks, 2 scratches. And then that was so that way she would know in the bathroom. That was so Gypsy would know that it was you and not her mom.
Yep.
Okay. And did you guys plan that out before?
Like I said, we went back and forth between more than one idea, but that would end up being the one that we stick with.
Okay. So after that happens, after you do the 3 knocks and the 2 scratches, does she open the door?
Not right away.
Okay, what happens?
She wanted to shave her private part
Okay.
and her legs.
Okay, she wanted to shave her private part and her legs?
Yes, for me.
Oh, so she didn't come out the bathroom because she wanted to shave her private part and her legs. Dear me.
Okay. Has she ever done that before? Or is this something new?
So that woman didn't know what to say then, did she? It was just like, oh, right, okay. She wanted to shave her private part and her legs. God.
Usually her mom does not let her shave her legs.
Okay. So her mom doesn't let her shave her legs? Does her mom let her shave her privates?
Her mom never seemed to care about that before.
Okay.
So yeah.
So how did you know she wanted to do that for you?
Because she did it.
Okay.
That's how it's kind of.
What did you do while she's shaving her legs and stuff?
I waited for her.
Okay. And then she gets out of the bathroom. Is her legs shaved and everything's shaved? And then what happens?
And then we start to clean up the ground and everything around.
Okay. Clean up. What are you cleaning? The house?
Yes.
You're like vacuuming and dusting and stuff like that?
Cleaning up such as anything that has memories of her. That's actually what we were doing.
I don't understand. I'm sorry.
Like anything that had, she took some pictures away and.
Yeah, so they started cleaning up. So after she shaved her legs and her private part, then they took pictures away and threw them in the trash. Anyway, wait and see what they did next.
She actually threw them in the trash. She tried to get rid of things that would give you guys the idea that she really lives there.
Oh, okay. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, so did you guys clean up any blood or anything?
Yes.
Okay, what kind of blood got cleaned up?
I believe it must have been mine because I accidentally stabbed myself in the process.
Where'd you stab yourself at?
Right here.
Oh my goodness, do you need stitches or anything?
No, I've been holding it
Okay.
together.
Is that the only place you got cut or did you get cut other places?
I don't think, before I got roughed up earlier, there was a spot right, ironically, it's the very same spot they ended up hurting me yet again. Right
What
here,
do you mean got hurt again, roughed up? What do you mean?
When they arrested me,
Oh,
they took me
okay.
to the ground, and that's the reason I have all these on me.
Okay. But did that
I don't know. He's got a very low IQ, this boy, as well. So I think his IQ is only 80 something. So you can see the way he's talking. It's weird, isn't it? Because it's like all the horrible thing that he's just done, and then he's sort of like showing his injuries, and sort of he just at the end of the day he is just a boy, isn't he?
was an injury from when you stabbed Dee too, and then it just got re-injured whenever you.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that other one on your hand right there, that's the cut that you cut yourself.
Yep.
Okay, what are those up there?
These up here are from when I hit the ground. So I hit my face and my stomach and part of my leg
Okay.
onto the concrete.
Okay, when they arrested you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so when you and Gypsy are cleaning up the blood, are you helping Gypsy clean up the blood, or is just Gypsy doing it, or just you doing it?
We for a while we did it together.
Okay.
And then because she wanted to get it done faster, she did it herself.
Okay. And what did she do it with?
But that's just typical, isn't it? When you try and do something with a man or a boy, it's like you start off doing it together, and in the end you're just quicker doing it yourself. It's like, don't stop helping because you're making it worse. Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing about it, but you know, it's like if you didn't laugh, you'd cry.
She used a order. What the heck was it? It was like a cleaner / odor remover.
Okay. Do you remember what kind of bottle it was in?
It was like a reddish bottle.
Reddish bottle? Okay. And how do you use that to clean? Like, is that a spray? Is that a powder? Is it liquid? Or?
It's a liquid.
Okay.
So you had to pour it down.
Where she pour it down?
She poured it on top of wherever the blood was.
Okay.
And then she would use either paper towel or she never used any rags, surprisingly. But yeah, that's the main thing she used, was just paper towel. Okay. That or there was also these wipes that she used.
Okay. Okay. And so she cleans up the mess, the blood that it made, and so you guys have sex.
Yes. And
what kind of sex? What is sex like to you?
Well, to me, the kind of sex that it was pretty much was 100% consensual. Is what I'm looking for. Yeah.
Okay.
Because she obviously I was the one that was in charge, but she went along with it willingly.
Okay.
Yeah. And
so what did you guys do when you had sex?
We pretty much did all three things. We did anal, we did all of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had anal sex with her?
Yes.
And then what's the other? I can't guess.
Oral.
Okay.
Like I said, all of them. Vaginal, all of them.
Okay. Okay. When you say oral, is that you providing oral sex to her and her providing oral sex to you, or is it both? Okay. Both. And that happened in her bed?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know if this is the first time Gypsy ever had sex?
Actually, I do know if it is.
Is it or not?
It isn't.
Okay. So she's had sex before she had sex with you?
She's had sex with me. I actually wanted when we took her virginity.
Oh, so you guys had sex a different time than this. Oh, when did that happen?
It was in a what the heck was it? It was a theater.
In a theater?
Yeah, so it was at the time that they had sex before that was in a theatre. Are you completely? No, when you listen to this, it's like, because they then, after all that happened, they then went and had sex in the bedroom right next to where Dee Dee was lying murdered in the other room.
Theater?
Yeah.
In Springfield or somewhere different?
Springfield.
Wow, did her mom know?
We kept it from her mom.
Okay. Where did you have sex at in the theater?
It was in a bathroom.
Okay. In a girl's bathroom or boys' bathroom?
She just took me to the boys' bathroom. I didn't have any choice. I just went right into the boys' bathroom. She's okay with it.
Okay. Okay. Was that a year ago, 2 years ago? How long ago was that?
That was back in March.
Back in March?
Somebody, I just had a quick look at the chat then, so I think it might have been Jean who said, yeah, where was his lawyer? Where was this man's lawyer? I mean, he's a boy, really, at the end of the day. Why did he not have a lawyer sat next to him? You know, because he's, obviously she's asking him lots of things and, you know, he's answering them because he's not really, he's thinking that him answering them is protecting Gypsy. That's what, because she's told him, don't forget, she told him right at the beginning, we've spoken to Gypsy, she's told us everything, you know, so he's thinking he's protecting Gypsy. Where was his lawyer? Or his mum even, or somebody in that room with him? Yeah, he should have had some, because he can tell he's just, you know, you get some twonks that are so, what's the word, you know, like Levi Belfield. I don't know if you know about that case, but he's just no comment, no comment, no comment, no comment. This boy, he's like, you know, telling him everything, and not realizing that he's compromising himself all the time.
This year.
Oh, okay. So you were in Springfield before.
Yep.
And did her mom know you were here?
No, I got to meet her mom in person for the first time.
And was her mom nice to you, or?
Yeah, she was really nice to me. And then I don't know what it was, but apparently the night got ruined in some way. I couldn't.
Now, he's just said that her mum was really nice to him, whereas Gypsy said her mum was really jealous of him. I do feel there's more to Gypsy than meets the eye. I honestly do.
Trying to understand what was going on with her mom, but
okay,
I don't know exactly what happened.
So did you meet her at the theater?
Yeah, I did meet her, but I was waiting for her for quite some time before I did.
Okay. And then what happened after you guys had sex at the theater?
We went to our movie and watched it.
And then what happened after the movie?
Then I said, my goodbyes to her.
Goodbye store?
No, I said my goodbyes to her.
Oh, say goodbyes to her. I was like, go to the store. Okay, so you said your goodbyes to her, and then you went your way, and you went back home? How did you get here that time?
She got me the money.
She gave you money?
Yep.
Yeah. Gypsy gave him money. She had money, Gypsy. Where did she get her money from if her mum was controlling her so much? I do think Gypsy manipulated this boy very much. Now, you can see from the way he's talking, he hasn't got a clue. You know, that he's totally dipping himself in it. You know, he's totally dropping himself in it. She knows a lot, but she's a lot cleverer than him, I think. And then, of course, that about shaving her legs in a private part, and then them having sex immediately afterwards and stuff. I don't think she's as innocent as she makes out. Personally, that's my personal opinion. But I agree that she'll have been made that way by her mum, of course, and all the manipulation. Now, I want to look at him talking now. So that was him. That what we've just watched was him when he was confessing to the murder. This is him now. Bless him.
I've agreed to do this interview was because when I noticed that my ex-co-defendant, Gypsy Blanchard, got a lot of attention, as she did, and she just kept on getting more and more attention. I felt that it's been tipped in one side of a scale to where I really wasn't getting much coverage. I wasn't being able to actually be able to voice my opinion.
Now you can see the difference between them. See how Gypsy has come on in leaps and bounds since she's been in prison. Now he's saying she's getting all the attention. He's not getting much coverage. He doesn't seem to be getting the same sympathy that she's getting. And yet you can see, you know, bless him. I'm saying bless him. He's a murderer. I'm not. I feel like I'm trying to defend him and I'm not. All I'm trying to say is he is not quite, you know, you can see that he's not, you know, he's not, oh God, what's the word? He's not like the sharpest tack in, you know, I don't know how to say it without being insulting to him. I don't know where his lawyers, where's his lawyers been, you know, to protect him or to help him, you know.
And I wasn't able to let everyone know what I truly feel. I just know that she knows. She knows that I've taken the responsibility for mine already. I still have feelings for her. Of course, I will always have feelings for her. But every human being needs to grow and learn from their mistakes. And I feel that's where me and her both are right now. We're learning from this mistake that we've both made. I mean, the way she was raised, no woman should ever, no child for that matter, should ever have to be raised that way. I did feel that she was not taking responsibility for her actions, but at the same time, due to the way I know she was raised, I can't blame her. I can't. That, and along with my religion, with being a Christian, I know I'm not supposed to judge, so I'm not going to judge. It's just not part.
So bear in mind that these two young people, they met on a Christian website. You know, so supposedly Christians would, where did their Christianity tell them that thou shalt not kill? As much as a cow perhaps Dee Dee was, and she obviously was, and all the terrible things she didn't deserve to be murdered. But it's a very strange case, this, isn't it? It's like, you know, I feel sympathy for this boy, even for what he did. Just the way he's talking, I feel like he's been let down by his legal team. He deserved to go to prison, just like Dee Dee. Gypsy deserved to go to prison, but why is she coming out after 8 years and he's got life without parole? He's in there forever.
Part of who I am. I just won't do it.
What do you want people to know about you and your story, Nicholas?
The parts of my story that would be the main parts that would matter. Basically, have it as a life lesson. Basically, tell them, don't be doing this stuff because you never know what it could lead to, and basically be an example of a role model if I could. Because I mean, due to all the publicity Gypsy's getting, and she's getting me that publicity too, I feel like I have a responsibility. I feel like I have to be somewhat of a role model. And because of that, that's part of the reason why I feel like I have something to basically owe up to, basically. I mean, I do have a restitution to pay to the society, which of course I'll be happy to do. At the same time...
So he's saying he's got restitution to pay to society. It just seems, you know, we see so many cases, don't we, where people, you know, we always, it's like, oh no, they should get a longer sentence, they should get a longer sentence. But here with this boy, honest to God, I am feeling he needs a shorter sentence. I can't even believe I'm saying it, because I'm normally for a longer sentence, but there's something about this boy. I think he's been manipulated. I do think he's been manipulated. He's got the combination of autism and a low IQ, and he's not been, his lawyers have been absolute shite, in my opinion.
I want to basically let everyone know that I'm not just this cold killer that doesn't have any feelings or anything else like that. I'm a human being, and as they say, human beings make mistakes. If I had to change anything at all, of course, one of the obvious ones was I would have probably ran away with Gypsy. That's the obvious ones. I definitely would have done that, because I don't want to be stained with a murder on my hands. I don't want to be stained with that, being labeled as a killer. I don't want to be stained with that, but I'll live with it. I'll live with it. I probably would have attempted to try to get her to prolong it to a longer date, to maybe try to go a different route rather than what we did do, or maybe trying to get her pregnant so this way her mom would be forced to let me in her life. Well,
yeah, that's something they talked about, getting her pregnant, so that then the mum would have no choice but to accept him because Gypsy was pregnant.
Really didn't get a chance to go to that route just because the limited time he had, there's just no way it would have been possible. So then maybe that's be the only other minor change I would have made, is that I would have ran away with her earlier. So this way I wouldn't have had to suffer all this time away from each other, that we could have been closer together. That's probably the only two things I would have changed, really.
Let's have a look if there's any.
Bring up another moment when I was 14 years old, and that's when I first glimpse of it. This is when I realized that all the other things that were building up in me were basically jeopardizing my inner happiness, my inner peace, and all the rest of that. Because I remember seeing one night, it was 9 o'clock at nighttime. I was in my grandma's house. I just remember looking in the mirror and I saw a glimpse of something I didn't recognize in my eye. It was just a shade, and then it went away. It was almost like something was trying to tell me, "Oh yeah, I'm there. You've created me. I'm there." There's almost no light at all in there, but I saw a shadow go right past it.
this boy had massive mental health issues. You can see that, you know, gosh, I don't know. Ooh, what will prison be doing to him? I mean, I don't know if anything's going to be done if they are going to trial again, but I don't know. Surely this of Gypsy being released really will mean that he gets looked at again. I don't know.
It's almost like it wanted me to know that it was there. And so really, I knew there was a darker part of me, and I was actually quite terrified to actually explore it. I was terrified to explore it. And now I actually regret exploring it with Gypsy. She's the one I hoped I would be brave enough to actually explore it with me, just so that's why I understand what's inside, who that is, what that is. I wanted to know, so this way I know what I'll be dealing with. And unfortunately, that part of me wanted to come out for a very long time, and the very first opportunity it got, it didn't waste any time in basically trying to make an example out of somebody, unfortunately. That dark shadow part of me that really is triggered by anger. It's triggered by anger. The sweet, innocent me that I usually wake up to every day is not there. It's a completely different person.
Goodness me.
And a devil. I actually had two different ones speaking to me. They both said one thing and left the decision up to me. First, the angel spoke, which I wish I would have listened, because it's really weird, because that only reassured me that my original idea of what we should do would have been the right thing to do. It's really...
Surely someone who's talking like this about having the angel and the devil, that's like schizophrenia, surely. That's schizophrenia. I feel like this boy's just been sort of thrown out and left out to dry, really, because it's obviously got issues, like big issues. I don't think he's like evil, you know. I think he's literally, you know, sometimes you see people who pull the mental health card, don't they? But you know that basically they're just a twat, basically, or a twonk. I don't think this boy is. I think he genuinely has got mental health issues.
The weird that it reassured me on that. What it actually said, his very actual words, was, "Take her and run." This is his very words. We had the other part of me, and yeah, that damn devil. What it ended up telling me was, this bitch is dead. That's all it said. This bitch is dead. Basically, once I heard that, some darn reason, I don't know why it inflamed the emotion of it in rage, but it did. It inflamed the emotion in rage. So I ended up whispering to Gypsy, "Get in the bathroom, because I just want to get this over with." She made me believe that I'm not an offender. And I guess that's the reason why the darker part of me was more...
Now, something I just want to add there, I don't know if you know, there's so much to this story. I could be here all night talking about it. But both of them had like alter egos that sometimes they would message each other. Gypsy would message as Gypsy, sometimes like the little innocent girl. And then other times she would dress up in like, you know, bondage gear and what have you, and be her alter ego. She was not a little innocent girl. She wasn't. And he would do the same. They both had two personalities. You know, they're both very damaged young people, which unfortunately they came together for the perfect storm, didn't they?
I guess you could say, not manipulative, but more able to persuade me into saying, "You're going to have to do this."
Anyway, very sad. And I think I've seen a couple of you chatting on there. If you've got, you know, people in your family that are vulnerable like that, it's terrifying, because you just don't know what's going on in the head, and you don't know who's going to come along and manipulate them or whatever, and you want to protect them. And he obviously has got massive issues, that boy. So, you know, who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, Jean, let's hope so. Hi, Wesley. Let's hope that with it all coming up again, it gets looked into. Yeah, he deserves, I don't know what he deserves. It's obviously he did a terrible thing, but it deserves looking at again. You know, if I was his mom, honest to God, I'd be going mad. I'd be going mad about her coming out and getting married and coming into a normal life. And him, you know, being sort of stuck there with obvious mental health issues. Maybe if not in prison, he should be in maybe a mental health facility or something. I don't know, or maybe there is no answer. You know, I literally don't know. It's a very sad. It's a very sad story, I think, and you know, I think it's difficult for anyone to grow into, you know, puberty, and going through those teenage years and coming out the other side is a nightmare for anyone. But people with mental health issues, you know, I've seen it in my family, and that it's never, luckily, touch wood, it's never resulted in someone actually going to prison. But you just think, could have been unlucky and met someone like Gypsy, you know, two damaged people coming together. So we see what happens when Gypsy comes out. I mean, I hope she comes out and she gets some happiness, but I do feel for Nicholas a little bit. And also, I do feel that we should not forget about Dee Dee. You know, at the end of the day, however terrible a mother she was, she had her issues as well. Who knows what happened to her when she was a kid? I mean, who knows? Oh, Desi, that's right. He has you, and you'll look after him. You know, that's all you can do, is try and teach him the best you can. It's funny, isn't it, when your kids are young and you're always thinking, oh, when they're older, you know, this, and when they're older, that. Gets worse. You worry more when they're older. It never stops. I've got friends, their kids are in their 40s. Students, I've got kids are in their 40s and still worry about them just the same. You know, they never, in fact, it gets harder, because when they're little, they're in your control, aren't they? You know, you can make them feel better. You can give them a cuddle. You can sing them, you know, a song at bedtime, or, you know, tell them a story, and you're always. And then as they get older, they start this sort of growing away from you, and it's hard to know the how far to let them go. You've got to let them go, but you don't want to let them go because you know they're going to get shat on by someone, because there's so many twonks out there that are going to shit on them one way or another. And you're always trying to protect them, but they have got to learn themselves as well. But then if it's got the added problem, if they've got autism, etc., so difficult to know. And you know, I know from experience, you go through some very bad times as a parent. They go through bad times, but you as a parent, you go through torture as well, because you've got to watch it all happening and just hope for the best, really. That's it, David. You can only shield them so much. Yeah, you'll always need guidance. Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah. The other thing, though, like Jean, what you're saying about that boy being autistic, you know, it makes me angry when people use that as a defence. Now, Nicholas, you can see he didn't use that as a defence. He probably should have used it more as a defence. Maybe he would have got treated more fairly. I don't know. I don't know, you know, and I tell you, it's really unusual for me to feel sympathy for people that have committed MURDER in any way, shape or form. But I do feel a little bit of sympathy for Nicholas. I don't know why, but I do. And yeah, that's it. All you can do. Very difficult, very difficult. And that gullibility, the naivety, because you want them to be a nice person as well. Do you know what I mean? You don't want them to be a twonk. You don't want them to be horrible to other people, but then you don't want them to be taken in because by those twonks that are out there as well. So very difficult. It's very, very difficult. I think one day we should do a video about autism and that, because there's a lot of children in my family that suffer from it, and we need to maybe do a support group or something. Anyway, that's it. So that's the story. I mean, it's goodness me, it's a hell of a sort of, you know, I'm calling it a story, but of course it's real life. But it's one of those, the whole thing from start to finish, from the way Gypsy was treated, to the events, to what has happened with Nicola's, to now Gypsy's coming out and she's like thriving, isn't she? You know, and she's coming out, she's got married, she's going to be having a fantastic life, maybe, but she's damaged, you know, inside. I presume she's going to carry on having counselling, etc., you know, because it's going to be difficult for her to just, she's never lived a normal life ever, because as soon as she really, you know, met that guy and everything, she was in prison, so she's never led a normal life, so it's going to be difficult. But oh, so yeah, so Julie, is that your daughter that you're talking about? Must have missed that from early on. Yeah, positive. We've got to keep positive, because the good thing, Desi, the good thing is now it is much more understood, autism, etc. There's much more help available, because, you know, years ago, you know, literally children were just locked away in homes and things like that, because nobody, you know, I'm talking about quite a few years ago, but even, you know, my brother, one of my brothers, he's never been diagnosed, but I've bet 100% he's got Asperger's or some sort of, but in that, it was in the time when nothing was ever diagnosed. Do you know what I mean? Nobody had ever heard of it. It was just like, oh, shush, shush, don't talk about it. You know, you'd never want to talk about anything like that. But now it's talked about and it's accepted, and people are so much more understanding. So it's a positive step forward, very positive step forward. Oh, Wendy. What David says. David says, don't ever do what a woman who has a Phillips lady shaving her back tells you to do. Oh, dear me. Oh, God. Julie's using the garden shears. Oh, yeah. Get the iMac. Do you remember iMac? Yes. Oh, dear. Gosh. Well, we have to have a laugh at the end of a story like that. Well, that's it, Desi. So it's good. So there is support, you know, and that's the main thing. And you've just got to think positive like that. So, oh, crikey. It's true. Oh, dear me. Oh, thank you, Silver. Yeah, you've missed it. Wendy, sorry, you've not only missed the star. I'm literally going now. But so thank you all for being here with me. It's been great. This is the first, well, it's the last Members Live of 2023. The next time I see you all in a Members Live, it will be 2024. Go get your hedge trimmers out now, girls. Ah, dearie. Oh, have you been and come back, Vicky? Oh, God. Anyway, thank you for being here and listening to me warbling on. But I think it's an interesting story. I'm sending some love out to Gypsy for coming out, you know, and I hope she's happy. I hope she finds some happiness. But I also want to send some love out to Nicholas, and I hope I don't know what I hope for Nicholas. It's like very difficult, but anyway. So love to everyone. What did Mal say? It's like Mal missed some of the chat because she was shaving her legs. As long as that was all you were shaving, Mal, don't give us any more information. We don't want any more information. Dearie. Anyway, night all. I'll see you. Where are we? It's Thursday, isn't it? So I might see you tomorrow. I'll see you. Oh, I'll definitely see you on New Year's Eve, but probably before that. Oh dear, dearie, you're all bad. Anyway, thank you, and I'll see you very soon. So remember to live and love wisely, carefully. Make sure you're shaved. You make sure you've always got a little pocket razor with you just in case. And I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your lady shave go with you. Bye. Oh dear.